Today we are going to look at how some best practice. Remember, this program is called Every Day with the Computer, the easiest and best practices. Some best practices that can actually save you the stress of having to either reinstall Windows or having to, spend so much money to fix your computer. There is a tool that has existed in almost all the versions of Windows. At least I know it's in Windows XP, it's in Windows 7, it's in Windows Vista, Windows 8. I don't know about Windows 10, but I am sure that if it's a Windows, then that tool should be there. And that tool is called System Restore. Now, this is how System Restore works. When you install programs, when you working with files, when you just doing things on your computer, and you create a system restore point, if peradventure in the course of you working with your computer you get to have a problem, an issue, and you cannot, you just need to have an issue, you can actually take your computer back to a previous restore point where your computer was working well. You can actually move your computer backwards. You can move your computer backwards to a certain date. Or take, for example, today. You can actually take it back 3, 4, or 5 days ago, even 30 days behind, depending on the size of your restore space. You can actually take it backwards, and you can restore your computer based on what was done on the date previously. But that also means that anything you did between the past 5 days and today, in terms of any program you installed, they will not be there. The files that you have will be there, but the programs you installed, the games you installed, the things that you had done, in terms of programs, the programs you install will not be there. So you have to have that on the back of your mind when you're running a system restore. It has been a very useful tool for me as a person. A very useful tool, because many times I come across issues that I just, maybe your system crashes or I have a problem. All I have to do is to just run a system restore and go backwards, go to a previous date, go to about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and load that, and my computer will come working well. It will come working well, and I may lose the program I have installed, I may lose some things, but then it is still, my computer will come working again, and I can still continue my project. So I will take you to my computer, and I will show you how you can, number one, create a restore point, and also how you can actually run a system restore indeed. For you to set up a system restore, you go to computer, right click computer, click on properties, click on properties, where you have system protection. Can you see system protection? You click on it. Now you can see use system protection to undo unwanted system changes and restore previous version of files. That is the vision and the essence of system restore. That is the essence of system restore. Use system protection to undo unwanted system changes and restore previous version of files. So it says you can undo system changes by reverting your computer to a previous restore point. It's a very useful tool. So now, first of all, you need to create a restore point. I want to show you how you can create first. Restore point means that, take for example, you are just installing some programs right now, and you want, in case of any failure, to be able to access this program of today. You don't want to lose the programs you've installed today, so you install it and you create a restore point. So you can actually create a restore point right now for the drives that have system protection turned on. So you click on create. Type a description to help you identify the restore point. So I can say programs. Then I write the date, today's date. Then I click on create. Now the system starts creating a restore point. In the case of any failure and I want to do a system restore, I will see the date, I will see the name I have just specified, and I can be able to create, I can actually restore my computer back to that date. I can, even if it's 1 month from now, even if it's 2 months from now that I get to have any kind of challenge or any kind of problem, and I feel like restoring my computer back to this very day, I can see this date, I can see that name I have specified, and the computer will come back to this very day. That means that all my files, every changes I have effected between today and the day in the future that I had an issue, those changes will be undone. Those changes will be undone, and that simply means that I will lose whatever happens between now and then, but I'll be able to bring back my system from when it was working at a perfect condition. It's very useful. It is very, very effective. It has saved in different points in time. So you can see the restore point was successfully created. So I close that. Now the next thing I want to show you is how you can manage the disk space for system restore. Now, why is your disk space, why is management of a disk space important? Because the larger your disk space, the more the restore points you can create. If you have a very small disk space, there's a tendency that you will be able to create only very few restore points. Very few restore points. So I click on configure now. Okay, so can you see that it has current, the current restore, system restore uses 11.34 gig, and is using 14% of my hard drive. So I can actually say restore system settings and previous versions of files. So if I drag this bar, it will increase the usage. That is the amount of space of my hard drive that is going to be allocated to system restore. If I click apply, that's what is going to happen. It's going to take up this space, 206.9 gig of my space. I can't afford to let that happen, so I have to take it lower to, let's say, 9%. I click on OK, and I click on that. So my system restore has been, brought to a certain size, and that does it. That does it. So if I want to do system restore now, I click on system restore. It's going to bring up the system restore dialog. So you can see restore system files and settings. This is where it all starts. So peradventure you are unable to log into Windows, you can actually go through save mode and do the same thing, and it will bring you back into Windows. That is a topic for another day. But for this one now, you can actually just create a restore. You can actually go through. You can see the one I have just created, programs third. This is a restore point I have just created now. If I go on that particular day, I can take my computer back to this day. You can see that this is the 28th of January 2016. 28th of January 2016, and it happened by 3:52 p.m. So if I check on this now, it will give me more restore points, and definitely when you check this one, it actually brings up a system kind of change. A system kind of change. Every other ones are application changes in application software, but this other one is a change that occurred in a system software. So, well, Then you click on next. You just choose a restore point. You click on next, and you click on finish. Once you click on finish, it will restart this computer and apply that particular day that I want to create a restore point. So that's about that with system restore. There is more to it, and I believe that in the course of this program we will get to be talking about more of it as time goes on. The next tool that I have found to be very useful in Windows 7 is called Resmon. The tool is called Resmon. It is a short form for Resource Monitor. Resource Monitor. You might have been familiar with Task Manager in Windows 7 or from Windows XP all the way down, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8. All the versions of Windows have Task Manager. They all have Task Manager. But Task Manager is not as detailed as Resource Monitor. Now, Resource Monitor is a tool that is started from, I think it started from Windows 7. I've seen it in Windows 7, so it's a very good tool. You can use Resource Monitor to actually be able to know what is causing a bottleneck on your computer. That is, you can know what is causing a crash. You can know each program, what is making a program to crash. Take for example, if a particular program is stuck for a long time, you can use Resource Monitor to know which process it is waiting for. You know, when you're accessing the memory and the memory gets to be clogged up, other processes get to wait for others to free up access to the processors. So what happens is that you can use this tool to know when it is waiting for another process to free the memory for it to be able to get to have access. So I am going to take you through my computer now, and I'm going to show you how Resource Monitor actually works. It's a very good tool. You can actually monitor your CPU, you can monitor your memory, you can monitor your network devices, you can monitor your hard drive. It will tell you live what is running on your processor. It will tell you live what is running on your memory. It is so important you know these things, because we do get to have issues with running computers from time to time, but because the computer is a very fast system, but because it's too slow, all you need to do is that you need to get on the memory to know what is running. There could be one program that is occupying so much space on your memory, so you need to know if that program needs to be stopped or it needs to be allowed to run. Resource Monitor will enable you to know what is running on your CPU live, what is running on your memory, the program that is currently having activity a lot on your hard drive, and it will also let you know a network program that is running. So it is a very good tool. I found it very useful for the CPU and for the memory usage. I can stop anything I don't like, anything that is disturbing me or making my system to become sluggish. I can know it there. It will tell you how much space of your RAM that is using. So I'll take you to my computer now, and I will show you how you can know which of your programs is running in Resource Monitor, how you can track it, how you can follow it up to be able to know what it is waiting for and when it is waiting for another process to free up space in memory for it to be processed. So come with me to my system. Okay, so for you to access Resource Monitor in Windows 7, I would advise you also try it in your Windows operating system. If you're using Windows 8 or 8.1, Windows 10, Windows XP or Vista, I want you to try and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then you have to stick to Task Manager. So you go to where you have your Start menu, and you just type in the Resmon. That's all. and wait for it to search it out. Just type Resmon and hit enter. There is a file and there's a program that is going to come up once you do that. Good. So can you see? Okay, I could maximize that. So you can see what is this. Is so much activity right now going on in my computer. You can see now. If I go, you can go to overview. Overview will give you an overview of every single thing that is happening. Look at the CPU. You know that 52% of my CPU is currently being used. Is currently being used. You go to memory, you see that 79% of my memory is currently being used. So then you go to my disk, 1% of highest activity time. I am not using my hard disk for much now. Many of the things that are happening now is already loaded onto the RAM. That's why you're having 79% used physical memory. So let me go to CPU now. If you click on CPU, these processes are currently being processed by the CPU. This is what is running on the CPU. The CPU, works hand in hand with memory. It works hand in hand with the memory. Every program, first of all, loads its executable to the CPU. The CPU will then feed it to the memory, depending on how free the memory is at any point in time to handle what the CPU is bringing forth. So the memory is more like a servant to the CPU. The CPU will ask the memory, are you ready to help me process this? The memory will say yes. So you make space for a particular thing to be processed. So these files you are seeing that are running are actually being processed by the CPU. They're actually being processed by the CPU. You can see many of these. I can stop them. If I right click, I can end the process. I can end the process. I can end the process tree. The process tree means that I will not just end this process, I will end also processes that are depending on this process. I will end the entire tree for that process. I will not just end only that process. I will just by clicking end process tree, it will end more than just that process. Dependencies will also be ended. So if I click on analyze weight chain now, so it will tell me that Resmon is running normally, and that is true. So this happens when you have a bottleneck. Maybe a program is stuck, so you can right click on it and click on analyze weight chain, and it will analyze it and let you know that this process you are looking at is waiting for another process. It's waiting for another one to free up space so that it can function properly. You can see that these processes that are running, they are actually being processed by the CPU. If I click on the memory tab, can you see it's a very, very good tool. It can tell you that hardware reserved is 64 MB. Look at it there. It tells you that this RAM in use is about 3 gig of my RAM is currently being used. I have only 4 gig. So if I have 3 gig that is actually being active, then that should tell you that I'm about to be running out of space to process. So that will tell me that, look, begin to stop some processes so they can have space to run other things. So I can actually go to where I have Firefox, right click on it, and I end that process. If I end it, I'm going to have more space. You can see that Firefox alone on my system is consuming about 979,000 and it keeps increasing, but it's in kilobytes. So that's about 979 megabytes. So it's a huge space that is occupying on my RAM. A physical memory is also called the RAM. That's what we have been talking about in the previous editions. So you can see that modify is 2 megabytes, standby is 834 megabytes. That's a standby, meaning that is what, you know, it can be available, you know, for another process. So 834 megabytes is on standby, 16 megabytes is free. So it's an overview. It says available is 815 MB, cached is 836 megabytes, total is 4,000. That's 4 gig. So installed is 4 gig. So it gives you an entire view of what is running on your memory. Can you see? It's almost as, it is not as much as the CPU. As I told you, the CPU will host some processes and carry some and feed into the memory based on what is currently being used. I am currently running some certain programs, so the CPU will just carry what is needed at that time and feed it to the memory. What is running on the CPU is more than what is running on the memory, even though it is not so much, but almost the same thing that is running there is running here. But that's to let you know my RAM is able to handle at least majority of the things that are running on the CPU. If I had lower RAM than this, you wouldn't see as much as this running at the same time. No, you wouldn't see it. So this hard disk, you know, processes that are instantiated on my hard drive at this moment. So it's a very good tool. It's a very, very good tool. You can actually listen, see the ports that are being listened to right now, the ports that are being opened. You can actually see the ports that are currently being opened on this computer. And from here you can know your vulnerabilities. You know, you can know what is listening to which port on your computer. You can know it, and you can decide to stop that particular process from using that, from listening on that particular port. From here you can know all the processes that are listening and on which port they are listening from. So you can see firewall status is allowed. Some are said not allowed. You know, some programs are allowed to listen on that port. Some are not allowed to listen. But you can actually, you know, modify that in the Windows firewall. So I won't take you more than that before it begins to confuse you, but just note that the Resmon tool will enable you to be able to know your programs live that are on the CPU and are on the memory. So that's it for today. I look forward to seeing you again next week, this same time, the same station. I will still be here again, and I will look at how you can, the other things that we can talk about. So you get on our website, get on our Facebook or Twitter, just drop a message. Let us know the issues you are going through on your computer. Let us know how we can help you to solve some few problems. It is nothing, everything we are doing here, we are not charging you for it. We are just giving you our own, it's our own social responsibility to you. So all you have to do is just log on to our website, log on to our Twitter and Facebook. If you have any issue, let us know. If you can call us, give us a call. A call will cost you money, so it's actually cheaper and almost free if you get on Facebook or Twitter to drop a message. So whichever one that is easier for you, you're free. We'll see what we can do to help you to maximize that computer, optimize the computer, and also to utilize it for productivity in your business and your profession. So thank you for being with us today. We'll see you again the same time and the same station. This program, you know, there's a book that is out there in the markets. It's called Every Day with a Computer, the Easiest and Best Practices. You know, you can also pick up the book at WordWorks. It's there. Just go through it. It's a training tool. Don't read it from back to back. Just pick up a few points and see how you can solve the problems that you have. You know, we try as much as possible to pick up a few things and just talk about it on the book. So it's not everything, but I think that it could help you solve some problems. So, thank you for being with us today. I look forward to seeing you, and I'll always be here. Thank you.